That's okay, so I just left it on.
Yeah, and then I may have some notes.
Right, that's good.
Did you have a pen that worked this year?
I have no.
There was a pen with it?
Oh, and Palm Springs.
See this one?
It is a purple one. Look how cool that is. Yeah. Oh, this is kind of
All right. Speaking of crazy, right? I was on the way to the supermarket at 2:24, ambulance comes over. So I did what I always do, like I have to pull over. And I look behind me, the car had me rear-ended. You know, not like a robot. I saw something in the car. And I look in the rear mirror, and it hit me with a dirty yellow. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, following the law, sort of. So then, how do you just do it? So I take off, but then, they kind of tick me off. So this is where my dad comes from. Is I take my time to see that car. And I realize those white vans in the lane next to me, so they can't pass me. And then when it comes to make my right turn off 224, I do the slow right, where you put the blinker on way in advance, and then you slowly drift over. I'm not a very good well, I just want to teach them that they emergency. I just want them to respect emergency. What's that? I know. No. If anything, I probably increase their antipathy for people's emergency vehicles. No, that never happened. Purely for my own self-righteousness. All right. We're gonna start our next new odyssey, which is history of Judaism. Right now, I'm using two different books that are absolutely not required. I never required books. This is more just for your own, if you're interested and want to maybe check these out. The main one that I'm using is this one, History of Judaism, Mark has been there. It's big, it's very long, it's very, so the way I've been reading it is I got the Audible and then the Kindle version. So what I do is I listen to the Audible and then go back and read it. Kindle, skip and stuff. It's very handy. This one is more just kind of, we won't get this stuff in a while yet, but this is an interesting read talking about kind of the current setup, right? So this is actually the transcription of the dialogue between Noam Chomsky and he's a like musician and then is a Palestinian. So it's a conversation between two of them about the history of this Israel and Palestine and what's going on. I haven't gotten very far into it. like I said, it's dense. It's dense. And this is what we'll use kind of as our outline, at least for the beginning. Let's talk a little bit about scope, and then we'll have some conversation. So the text of the course is, I said, jokingly, Abraham patriarch. If Abraham Heschel, you know who Abraham Heschel is? So that name sounds familiar to anybody? So Abraham Heschel is when did he pass away? It wasn't too long ago. He is a Jewish scholar, was a Jewish scholar of great renown, passed away in 1722. And he is a fantastic example of a modern Jewish biblical scholarship. Okay, and that will make sense why I say that in a little bit. Okay, modern biblical scholarship in general is a relatively new thing. You know, the same way as modern biblical scholarship in Christian study. One of my professors in seminary, Terry Fredman, actually got to meet and do Heschel. So I heard him through Fredman. He actually read some Heschel's stuff. His Old Testament, his Hebrew Bible commentary is fantastic, especially if you want to get that. So, Joe, so what we're going to do is we're going to start in antiquity, we're going to start in Hebrew Bible, and that's kind of what we have today is the narrative of the Hebrew people, right? So what brings us essentially to the first century Israel, Judaism, as Jesus' experiences. But then where the arc of the course leads us eventually is to Judaism as it exists in the 21st century. Like I said, Heschel died in 1722, so he's solid 20th century. But it made a good title. I couldn't think of a popular Abraham right now. And Abraham is way behind. Okay, so let's talk about it a little bit first. What do you know about Judaism? Anybody here have connections? So family, friends, Jewish? Oh, great! Fantastic! This is going to be a lot easier than I didn't think it was going to be hard. So based on your Jewish friends, what do you know about Judaism? Great. Good people. Yeah. At least your friends are. Yeah. What made her a good boss? She was extremely smart. But she always listened to you, and she cared about people, and I worked in organizations with small problems. Yeah. We got a lot done. Of all the places I worked in my life, that was the one place that we actually got done. And she was part of that. So, I worked with 10 years. Did you ever experience any of her religious practices or religious identity? She was, okay, so she was a gay woman, and she came to her, she kept shocked. And the kids are kind of like the most gay kids. Sure. Yeah. And they, did you have a sense of the religious? So her wife now was an LDS, and they all converted to become Jews. Wow. Yeah. Well, what's fascinating about that though is the process of converting to believing has some time. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they talked and they had the service itself was not that different than anything that we do. Yeah. Yeah. Well, believe it or not, he said that really came Yeah.
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 And I'm not really sure what was.
Cool. Ricky, where?
But the thing that really stuck in my mind was that on her birthday, her parents were taken to a nearby orphanage in Chicago, and they were having a birthday party in the orphanage with the people that were there. It was very unusual, and it just stuck in my mind.
Jill?
When I was actually, one of the Jewish friends that had mentioned was that they have to pay to go to temple. And that I was curious about, but I didn't ask.
We'll get into that maybe today. And,
So, they were.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was in my position, and it's always something that she wanted her son, she wanted her son to marry Jewish women.
Yeah.
Even though she was herself not married. But she had a heart,
Yeah.
and she always wished me Merry Christmas and Happy Easter. So she,
Did she strike us?
well, she would prefer her son.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she celebrated on that, and she did go to temple, and it was very something.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Very born. They either call it do it,
Sure. Yeah.
But the nuns are like the sort of very Christian.
Yeah. We'll talk about this too. Yeah. Susan.
I worked with them probably more before, but you guys decided to become vegan so that they can
Vegan, that's a great thing about vegans, in terms of diet coverage, it covers pretty much everything. Yeah, it's an umbrella, kosher, halal, pretty good. That's cool.
I worked with the rabbi and one of the practices was just intense education in quoting other rabbis. And there were particular rabbis that was just really important to her.
Yeah.
That she had a fondness for a lot of stories, a lot of well, I don't know if it's mysticism, but we just out of curiosity, she was struck by stories that would talk about how things aren't as certain as you think they are. You think this is going to be the outcome?
Maybe.
You know, a lot of that is in that. She didn't go to a really lucky dish, but it was in the same day.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. She had been in Israel.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know everybody was there for the wedding. When you come to a wedding, you dress up as the person you want to be. If you dress as your girl, you become the sister.
That was her interpretation.
It was a free.
Yeah.
But she herself was granted her the gardens that she married. She didn't run to the road. So they had to fight. Courts.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I wanted to say was, Shoshana was easily one of the most sympathetic, loving, obviously smart, human beings.
Yeah.
What I really appreciated was, I don't know the amount of pressure I'm going to take to sort of be a little bit evangelistic and hope that other people would become Christian. She didn't have any.
No.
No pressure at all.
No.
Yeah, that's what you're joking here. And so that's all that was there.
There are many things about Judaism that just are they don't compute for modern generations. It just doesn't exist.
I got and told them, my first job right after I left high school, college, was tradition. And his mom visited in Minneapolis, that I worked for. They did like all these stereotypes and it was just really, yeah. But nonetheless, they had a very successful business that they ran.
Sure.
But looking on the outside, like they were kind of rocky, they were very much.
Sure. Yeah.
As you put it, one of the things that Shoshana did have a problem with was the non-Jewish perspective of Jews as they were Christians.
Yeah.
And she said most of us
Yeah. Personally, I had very little experience. So I grew up in Northeast Michigan. I'm sure there were Jews in Northeast Michigan. I didn't experience it. Yeah, it sounds fair. I think my first actual encounter with somebody who was Jewish was when I was working my engineering job, and our job, I managed low viscosity silicone production. One of the products that we made was food grade. I think it was used as a non-stick coating for like fast food restaurants. And because it was food grade, it had, well, it was kosher. And so every year, a representative of the Orthodox Union had to come and review our batch sheets, right? And again, I definitely suspected that we were putting, cloven hooves or, papers or anything, but it just got part of the regulation process. So I got to experience the visit and Rabbi Brody once. And it was really funny because I was taking over, well, theoretically, I hadn't asked myself to take over, but I was taking over for a guy who had been there for 30 years. And so he and Rabbi Brody knew each other really well. And I had to laugh because basically the extent of the check that Rabbi Brody did, he came in, sat down in bed, drank coffee, shot the breeze for about 20 minutes, went out, looked at the reactor, signed the sheet, and walked off. That's the extent of it. And I haven't had over my lifetime much experience as well. I have met Jewish people, for example, when I first arrived, I had coffee with one of the new rabbis out Beth Israel. I don't know if she's still around. We met coffee beans and I talked to her. She was super great. And then most recently, one of my friends, so I have my friend Ryan, and they are graduates of Jewish Law Office in New York, which will come into the plant. And Ryan recently converted to Judaism, so he was raised evangelical Christian, wasn't a good fit, and then recently converted to Judaism. I don't know if Hannah will or not. They visited her in December. That's going to come up. So that's what they said. So go ahead. Yes. Yep. Yeah, and it had a specific stamp or something. I don't remember the OU. Sure. If they want to be kosher. All right, and I guarantee you that Jews who are practicing, halakha, who are following the dietary restrictions are well aware of which which locations are sacred by kosher. Similarly, the World Foods and Environmental Company, as they've been there, has a relationship with halal culture, so they get a lot of halal stuff in there as well, which is similar. So part of that is to say, I'm learning this alongside you, which is, believe it or not, a lot of the stuff that we study here. I kind of pick topics because I'm interested in them and I want to know more about them. So I'm learning alongside of you on this. So take everything that I say as always with a grain of salt. And these are two of the resources that I'm pulling from more as we go along. And a lot of it too is that I know kind of the general art that I'm going to do, but a lot of it is I don't know what we're getting into until we get into it. So these are the two resources that we need now. We'll probably more But real quick, when we talk about modern Judaism, a couple of things to be careful of is, we've already run into is the questions of identity, right? So one of the questions that I asked is if you know if are they practices these people that we encounter. And this is something that Christians, I think, are coming into contact with a little bit more on their own identities. What are the idea that religion can be separate from the rest of you is a relatively recent development in human thinking. It's basically post-modernity, right? So the idea that, are you a practicing, or do you go to church, that kind of thing. This idea that religious life, it can be a thing separated out is relatively new and kind of hard to compute when you look at Judaism. Because one of the things that we have to realize is that pre-enlightenment, there wasn't that separation. Right? This is why you read like Martin Luther's writings. He talks about the Milwaukies, which nowadays we would identify as a somewhat derogatory term, right? But there weren't Muslims, right? There were people who happened to practice Islam, but they were people. And the same thing when identifying Jews. You didn't separate religion from identity. It was all part of who the people were. Judaism, in a lot of ways, continues to maintain some sense of that, right? Sense of, well, I'm Jewish, but I'm not practicing. Almost the same thing like that. Well, I'm Catholic, but I'm not Baptist. But you have to understand, though, the really important part of this is that Jewish is not just an identity. It's a people, right? It is an ethnicity. And that's a complicated thing in the modern era, especially post-diaspora, right? Because what happened to Judaism is that Judaism, over the course of 2,000 years, spread everywhere, right? And so when you talk about, well, what is the Jewish ethnicity? It's like, well, everything is. And yet, there's still that almost inextricably linked identity and need, right, that is there. So we have to be careful when we talk about Jewish people, because there's a tendency to stereotype, right? And you can probably think of stereotypes that you were raised with. Marrying a French woman, my eyes were opened to a certain extent because anti-Semitism in France is it's alive and well. All parts of the world. In France, it's only recently even acknowledged that anti-Semitism exists. For example, the word juif, which is Jew, has been a derogatory term all the way up until recently, right? It was used as a slur. You would sling that around, right? I heard striking things from Len, until before she kind of realized what she was saying. But from a lot of perspectives, anti-Semitism is also Islamophobia, very present. So just to say, as we have this conversation, let's over these next couple of weeks, let's just keep in mind we're white people talking about a different identity from ourselves. And we're going to make mistakes, we're going to say the wrong thing, but you know, just keep in mind, we are viewing it from an external perspective. I hope over the course of this spring that we'll I'll be able to bring some Jewish voices in. Especially, I'm trying to set it up with Ryan to maybe either record a video, get him on streaming and send them, because his perspective coming to Judaism as a convert is really interesting. And the thing that I find fascinating talking about this with him is that where a lot of this came out of is being a scholar of the Hebrew Bible. Right? Obviously, going to JCS as well was influential. The Hebrew Bible is his, that's the world that he lives in. Right? And he has articulated this as such, but I get the sense that a lot of his decision for his Judaism is because these are the stories that are my stories now. Modern Judaism, real quick, I'm going to go back to 3,000 years. Anybody aware of, or articulate kind of the current divisions and divisions from the current category we're on, you know? This is tough. Is that, how we subject Judaism is tempting to think of as denominationalism, and I would highly encourage you not to think of denominationalism. And the categories are, okay. So, the two most modern categories of Judaism are Reform and Conservative. Okay. Both of these movements come about in the mid to late 19th century. Okay, so that's how recent they are. And Reform Judaism is sometimes referred to as progressive Judaism or liberal Judaism. Okay, and I'm just going to give you a rough sketch today. We're going to eventually get more into this as we get to that part of the history. But Reform Judaism and Conservative Judaism have a lot in common. And then this other big category, you know, we refer to as Orthodox. Okay. In terms of size, this is big. This is kind of big. This is, you know, almost big. Worldwide. In the U.S., well, even still, I think they're probably more than so the current conservative is 800,000 in the U.S., primarily in the U.S. Reform is on par with the ELCA in terms of membership, so in the 3 to 4 million range. But Orthodox Judaism is everything else, right? Kind of this Western viewpoint. You will hear different terminologies like Hasidic, Orthodox, ultra-Orthodox, Haredi, right? I can use other terms. The main kind of qualifier that separates these in terms of categorization is this, the Talmud. Have you heard that before, the Talmud? So the Talmud actually comes about when the Talmud confusingly it comes out of the 6th century, 600s, so the 7th century CE, right? Does not come out of the Jewish time of exile. Kind of does. Okay. So the Babylonian Talmud, to contrast with the Jerusalem Talmud, which is lesser Judaism, thinking about Jerusalem 400 and 500, is a collection of rabbinical interpretations. Okay. So it's similar to law. It's essentially reading, what do you call precedents. Essentially reading legal precedents. So it is the collection of interpretations of rabbis for the past 600,000 years. Okay. Essentially from 2nd century Judaism up to when this is written. And so it is discussions of the Torah, right? Discussions of The Talmud in Orthodox Judaism carries almost the same weight to Torah. Okay? So the Talmud is central to the practices of Orthodox Judaism. And again, when we say Orthodox Judaism, keep in mind that is a big catch-all. Okay? It's very easy to from our perspective, inflate, for example, heredity or the more, what you imagine, Israel maybe, versus people that are Orthodox Jews, but in terms of, practices and politics, are quite different. Okay? But the common divide is that the Talmud is central to their practices. The Talmud, by the way, contains a lot of the legal interpretation which leads to things like following kosher. Conservative Judaism values the Talmud, but treats it, it's hard to find a Christian analog in this case, because we're so firm about the concept of canon. But they value the Talmud, they read it for historical elements. That makes sense, right? So again, conservative Judaism comes out of the 1880s, something like that. We'll all remember the dates actually to that part. But again, values the Talmud, but reads them in a similar way to how we might read Scripture. We understand the historical context and interpret it through that lens. Whereas in certain aspects of Orthodox Judaism, you would almost argue reading one to two. Reform Judaism treats the Talmud as just a historical document. So it has value in that it tells the history of Jewish interpretation, but very rarely interprets it to be a source of authority. That makes sense? Consequently, the things that we kind of assume in terms of Jewish practice, so keeping kosher, men and women can't touch each other, that kind of stuff, you can almost create an agreement in terms of how it's followed, right? Again, this is a generalization. There's much more as with Christianity, right? Like Baptists, what do you mean Baptists? Southern Baptists, American Baptists, there's big differences. Similar here, you can make generalizations. Generalizations are hard to understand and categorize, but in terms of Reform Judaism, generally by and large, they don't require you to hold kosher. It's left up to you to interpret, to determine what following kosher means to you. And some don't follow kosher at all. For example, Ryan doesn't eat pork. That's it. Everything else is on the table. Pork is the one thing that he chose to give up. And the reason why he follows it is different than why. Different and similar to why Orthodox Jews follow kosher. That's what we know. Matt, question?
Within a specific would they have to all be within one of these categories? Or would there be an adherence of all three of these?
This is okay. And keep in mind the numbers. So we've got maybe 3, okay, maybe 1 million, okay, and I suspect I looked at the numbers for Orthodox Jews in the U.S. In a nation of 400 million, your chances of having a synagogue temple that fits your specific, brand of Judaism are slim, depending on where you live, right? So what you will see a lot of times is people attend whatever they have, or you will see actually communities of Reformed conservative Jews who share space, right? Who have different practices, identities, maybe even beliefs, but because you're one of 35 Jews in somewhere in North Dakota, you go to Shabbat at the one temple that's there, it's a conservative temple, right? So keep that in mind. And again, what I encourage the courses as well too is start start thinking of questions and know that I'm not going to have the answers. I might order some studies together, but think of the questions that I ask. These are all great questions. I can see maybe a little bit of, but we're going to have to look some stuff up. And potentially, those of you who have parents that are Jewish, this is a great opportunity to ask them about, their faith in a non-creepy, non-phobic way. Keep it, keep it gentle. Okay, so from a Christian lens, well, the Western Christian lens, our world is divided into denominations, right? And kind of one of the big sticklers for us who identify as denominational Christians, remember the ELCA, we admit people who are non-denominational, right? They're just Christians that don't want to fit the category. We got to be careful behind that same sort of understanding to these categories of Judaism. Reform Judaism is the closest thing to what we might qualify as a denomination. So it was an intentional movement that was started by some people. And there are actually reformed organizations, one for the US, one for the UK, one for Western Europe, and they fall under this, and I can't remember the name now, they fall under a bigger umbrella organization. Similar to how there are ELCA Lutherans, Lutherans, Lutheran Church of Georgia, Holy Land, and we fall under Lutheran Global. What's the global? Lutheran we fall under the Lutheran Corporation. We cooperate, right? For Reformed Judaism, it's a little bit more tight than that in terms of you can assume that you're I think it's progressive, liberal, Jewish, in the UK, liberal Judaism, I don't know, but you know that you're at liberal Judaism in the UK, progressive Judaism in the US. It's not going to be that much. Yeah. Well, that's similar to mystical Christianity. It's hard to put that in these categories, right? So mystical Judaism is definitely more part of the conversation. The mystical Judaism is a post-second temple, kind of goes on the end. We'll get there. Yeah, that and then yeah. Not Jews. And that can be a contentious thing, especially depending on who you're talking about. For example, when my one of the experiences is one of the people in my cohort during my chaplaincy in Colorado was somebody who had converted to Judaism but was considering Christianity. And she basically said, I can't really go to temple, it would be awkward. And here's the thing, and again, there are absolutely, obviously, whatever, however, Jews and Jesus. Be aware that there's also, again, from a Christian perspective, desire to bring all people to Christ. There's also bad things about that, which is there's this. Lessons in ELCA, but there is a force within Christianity that has this dream that we'll bring the Jews over to our side at some point. And the reason it's uncomfortable and awkward is it breeds this whole. This is where Christian Zionism comes out of, these same kind of impulses. And it comes out of that kind of, colonial missionary mindset that people's value is only in them being converted to our way of belief. What we're studying is the belief. We're studying a people and a belief that is other than our own and similar, not as a way of understanding them so we can convert them, but because they have a value expression in So, yes, there are Jews with Jesus, but I would hazard to say that if you ask one of these folks, they would consider them Jews. You will also hear Messianic Jew, right? That's not necessarily the same thing. Another Venn diagram there, but that term has also been used to apply to people who, and again, whether they were Jewish first or, and I don't understand about that as well, right? We can use.
Are they, is there a distinction of super secularism that we're gonna?
Oh yeah. And that's okay. This is another danger. This is another danger of looking into, is that as Christians, right, a lot of our mindset is that, you know, this came first, and then it converted to this, and that anybody who still this missed the boat when they had the chance. That this, again, is a super easy. In other words, Christianity replaces Jesus. Obviously, from just a practical perspective, right? That we can take Jewish friends and family people are converting to Judaism, not regularly. They're not proselytizing faith. But yeah, this is something to be careful too. I was raised with this, right? I think we all are probably in some way. Martin Luther, God bless him. Martin Luther was convinced that his theology was so great that even the Jews would become Protestants, right? And this is kind of a generalizing. When they didn't, right, Luther actually becomes very conservative towards Judaism in daily life. And consequently, some of Luther's writings were used during, the establishment of the Nazi Party as justification for the supremacy of the Aryan and so, we got to think of, especially a lot of it has to do with that. This idea that Luther trying to crack the code of the perfect theology, of course, makes sense. Comments?
I just want to say, is it actually shameful?
Yeah.
And those of us who maybe are helpful Lutherans, should especially be ashamed, because we didn't wrestle with how incredibly unloving, how incredibly anti-Jesus it has been. I think Jesus for Jews.
Yeah.
Jesus cannot help but love his people.
Well, and even, keep in mind, this goes without saying, but we talked about this extensively in our previous studies, that Jesus was a Jew. Jesus never became a Christian. Right? Jesus never became a Christian. So the idea, again, that there would be some distinction between, well, the people that got Jesus and they didn't would never enter into Jesus. Which we'll talk to. We'll talk about. Okay, got it.
So could you consider that Jesus and his disciples in the first century were really reformed society?
No. Yes and no. Well, sorry, not from the modern. Right? They were. You could argue that you're right in a lot of ways. What I'm struggling with is that number one, the difference between Jesus and disciples, and what Jesus taught them to do. I cannot profess any special understanding or knowledge of Jesus. I suspect that the disciples, I don't know. I mean, that's a really curious. I mean, we attempted to ask the question in the study of the apostles as well. What did they think they were participating in? I definitely think that they thought they were participating in the reform movement, but I think a lot of them probably started having, it was more of a, again, these distinctions, more more secular form of movement. In other words, they were going to bring glory back to the nation of Israel, right? And we're shocked to find out that Jesus wasn't very much interested in that. You know, that he was a rabbi, you know, in a lot of ways, he was teaching about God. But yeah, I think they perhaps did. I mean, this is one of the fascinating things when you're studying early church history. It's like, when does that moment occur, right? When is the moment when they kind of go, oh, we're not really Jewish anymore, are we? Yeah. But this is funny thing, but did they? You know, this is funny thing. Yeah, and Peter struggles with it. It did. And I don't know that there was necessarily a point in time where they got rid of it. As with all things, it evolved because the preponderance of Christians were now Gentile, right? Who didn't resurrect. But I would argue that Peter probably followed the guidelines of his life, even after the vision of God, right? I imagine he stayed kosher until the day he died. You know, here's the other interesting things about that. Where were the, before they got kicked out, where were the apostles preaching post-resurrection? In the temple, right? They were in the temple. So right there is evidence. They were trying to start their own thing. They were trying to say to their fellow Jews, hey, the Messiah is coming, let's do the thing. But yes. It's really yeah. Even though they were, there's also that. Interesting thing as well is that, okay, let's talk about history a little bit this time. We'll tell the Abraham story next week. Let's do it. So we're talking about the history of Judaism, right? We can kind of put it into 4 stages, okay? First stage is, well, we'll call it first temple, for lack of a better word. But that can be subdivided as well, too. So the first temple. But before first temple, it's complicated, right? Because who built the first temple? The first big one. Solomon, okay? Was there a temple before the temple? It just wasn't made up because it was a tent, right? So the temple was before Solomon built his big house, right? But in terms of Judaism identifying as temple Judaism, it still only makes sense. Okay, we'll dig into that. Okay, second phase, second temple Judaism, right? So again, it's a little bit more complex than that. So second temple, who built the second temple? Cyrus. Cyrus starts this. Darius, Darius finishes this, sort of. It's complicated. It's a work in progress. The second temple is constructed after what? The Babylonian exile. Constructed the temple. But Herod finishes it, believe it or not. So Herod, who brings us right around the time of Jesus, does this huge public works project where he finishes the temple. It's complicated. We got to talk about the Maccabees too. The Maccabees and Antiochus and the desecration of the temple. Herod puts his stamp on it. Okay. And then, not even 7 years later, boom, one more temple. Okay. So what happens after that? Well, it's complicated. But this phase is referred to but it's not the right system. Because the seeds of recruitment is the exact same. And then we arrive at modern Judaism, which could kind of be categorized as a little bit of Judaism, but sort of not quite, you know. So, we'll just call it modern. My mom is. He's middle, yeah, he's middle. Such a great name. He's been there, yeah.
Is that still rabbinic?
Yeah.
Is that they shifted the middle?
No, I mean, what I'm referring to, again, what I'm referring to is modern Judaism, late 19th century, creation, reform, conservative reform. Again, it's like all the seeds of that, you can trace that to basically the dawn of the Enlightenment. Because here's the fascinating thing, is that conservative reform Judaism arrive at the acknowledgement that the world is changing, we should probably change with it. So, literally, it's two different attempts by Jews, to say, maybe we need to adapt who we are to our time. That's part of the mission state, for lack of a better word. Can you point to an example where Christianity really has its leftish movement? We tend to go the other direction. Like, it was better when women wore dresses and we weren't allowed to speak. We feel tons of them wrong by culture. I don't know. That's more of a sociological question. And maybe, but again, it's a great observation, right? Because that is one of the things about the Jewish story. The other things we put in there are Babylon exile, Holocaust, right? Creation, state of Israel in the 1940s. These are important days, right? And Jewish people over time had to adapt to a lot of trauma, right? Maybe going back, the Jewish story is built on trauma. That's one of the other books I'm reading right now. I can't remember the name of it. I'll remember it. But it's basically reading the Bible talking about trauma. It's fascinating. Prophets are almost exclusively in and around that. So leading up to, right, so Isaiah, Ezekiel, or no, Ezekiel is leading up to the destruction of northern kingdom and southern kingdom and then following. So what's the recent book written that's in the Bible? The minor prophet. Daniel was for 2 months. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's that's why I wanted the intro to next week's conversation. This is perfect. So, what does Judaism look like before it's Judaism? Is really the question I'm asking. So, where does the story of Judaism start? Yeah, I mean, you could argue that. You could argue that it starts with Moses. In fact, by the way, this guy is kind of the grounds for canon for what defines Jewish scripture, right? Is whether you trace it to the tradition of Moses or not. There's a big divide on here. So who's the patriarch? This is a fascinating thing. This is a fascinating thing, right? Because, right, from a Sunday school perspective, the way that I was taught the book of Genesis is that Genesis is cohesive, which all of the But in terms of the people, Hebrew people started having these, and those are great creation stories, right? They started with it, the covenant given to Abraham. So, this is why in the Hebrew genealogy and Jewish genealogy, right? Everybody's tracing their Abraham, and again, this is generalization, right? Abraham is essentially the beginning of Judaism. But Abraham isn't even Hebrew. Right? Where? What's that? Okay, and this might make us a little bit uncomfortable. But, you know, when we generally talk about how stories preceding Abraham narratives, they're myths. Right? And we talked about this before. That makes this a little bit weedy, because what do you mean it's not true? Right? Go Google myth as a genre of literature and read research. Right? Myths tell big stories, right? About observable things, right? It's a little more complicated, now. But the genre of literature that sees Abraham narrative are the myth genre, right? I mean, they're great stories, they're huge stories. Story of the whole world being swallowed in flood, and Noah building a single building a massive ship out of all that wood that's all over the place in Israel. All these giant trees, right? They're all over the place. It says and float on top of the mountain and send a dove out to find an olive branch. Yeah, that one flood there, the Syrian flood there, right? Again, that's a different conversation. It's a great conversation.
But that's how the Jewish people understand that.
That's a different thing. Okay. But again, that's like saying that's how the Christian people understand it, right? It's complicated. And keep in mind, right, we're talking about the foundational aspect of the Jewish faith is Torah, okay? Prior to, okay, if you look at the Hebrew Bible, you will never ever find the word translates as Jewish. Okay? You will not find it. It does not exist. Because what we refer to as the Hebrew people or the Israelites, keep in mind, there's a difference between Israelite and Israeli, right? Israeli is the modern state of Israel. Israelites were the ancient, the nation of Israel. You will not find that word. The closest word that you can get is Torah, teaching. Okay? But they did not distinguish my religion from who I am. It's one, it's all encompassing. It's who I am. I'm an Israelite, right? And I follow the Torah. That defines my religious practices. Torah means teaching. So, inside joke, this is actually probably most importantly, the law of Moses is the foundation of Jewish life and practice. Holocaust has a very word. Law. Okay. Stuff that they follow. What laws do we follow? It's complicated. Because there's a lot. There's 600 odd subjects in the Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Leviticus, 600+. Not to mention, if you follow the Talmud, then you have, it's like a bunch of books. Talmud is huge. Okay? You have this whole library of interpretation of the Torah, which are laws in and of themselves, right? So, one. Did I talk about the defense requirements before? And this is a general revision. It's hard for us as Christians to understand why, for example, something like two kitchens, one under heating and one not, right? Okay. Theoretically, the Levitical law that you can trace that, or Deuteronomy law that you can trace that back to is you shall not boil potatoes in love. Okay. And this is very interesting because the way I'm creating. Explain why you have to follow it. Okay, go over to your friend Dave's house, and Dave has prepared a meat dish with elk sauce, and just happens to be goat. And you ask Dave, that's not the mother's milk and kid, right? You're not having no, of course not. You can't be sure, right? So you decide you're just not going to eat meat and milk. Say, you go over to your Bob's house. Okay. There's meat, there's milk. Bob, where did that meat come from? Do you know what the source? Is that goat milk? Did they touch at all what they were preparing? Okay, well, we better make sure. So be prepared to eat milk. Again, I'm being snarky, but the idea is that as something following along Moses is what being an Israelite means. Okay? Following the divine law is literally what it means to practice. Right? We tend to squeeze it into the realm of theology, what we believe, right? And I think, hey, generally, orthopraxy versus orthodoxy. The purpose of orthodoxy is to guarantee orthopraxy, right? It's to make sure that you're following the law, because following the law is the way to make sure that the resurrection is that in practicing the law, you heal. There's talking about the Jewish mystical culture, which is essentially advocates that at one point in time, God was broken into pieces as was happening at the law. And that by following the law, we each carry the pieces of God that we will recognize until the day of age. God may be whole. Right? It's beautiful. And it takes all of us. Okay. Thanks. Great stuff. Next week, we're going to follow Abraham to Jesus. No. Not